The Articles of Confederation, written in 1777, was created to establish the functions of the national government for the United States after it declared its independence from Great Britain. It established a weak central government that mostly prevented each individual state from creating their own independent forms of government, yet tried to contain the states to have equal power in matters of gay marriage, taxes, as well as education. The Articles of Confederation created both local and state governments, while legalizing the states to have their own systems of diplomacy and foreign policies, with any king, prince, or state. Article 6. Lastly, the Articles of Confederation contributed to keeping each of the original 13 states sovereign.
One positive of the Articles of Confederation is the Land Ordinance of 1785, adopted by the United States on May 20th, 1785. This ordinance proposed a way for the United States to raise money. They could tax the states but had no authority or enforcement to collect them. There was no direct tax, meaning the Confederate government solely relied upon the states to make the appropriate tax payment. The money was then used to help pay for the expenses of the Revolutionary War of 1775. One long-lasting effect of this ordinance is the fact that the government today owns and rents land. For example, the government is fracking or mining for oil on federal land in order to help raise money for our government. Today, ExxonMobil is buying federal leases and then avoids drilling on this land to keep prices high.
Although state sovereignty and raising revenue may be accomplishment to some degree, the Articles of Confederation created a weak central government which had little control over the state's government. The Confederation created what are referred to as 13 separate countries joined together under one common name, the United States. In 1777 to 1787, the coastal states used their location to their advantage and personal gain. The states closer to the coast, such as New York, Maryland, North and South Carolina, used the Atlantic Ocean to carry out the importing and exporting of goods among other nations and several other sovereign states. The national government could not negotiate or lay any imposts or duties upon these imports due to the lack of force they had among the state governments. In the end, this describes how the national government does not contain the power to enforce the tax on the states individually. This ultimately results in the states overpowering the national government.
The federal system that grew out of the compromise between the unitary government and the Confederacy have left two conflicts between the power of the national government and the power of the state. Gay marriage is becoming a more common conflict between the states today. For example, in Maryland, gay marriage is legalized, while in Texas, gay marriage is still illegal. The 10th Amendment states the power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states or reserved for the states respectively or to the people. This amendment resulted in the states having their own power to legislate or act upon laws of gay marriage, education, labor groups, jobs, including the rights to life, liberty, and property set by John Locke, which was instilled early in our founders by the philosopher. The states remain sovereign in some issues dealing with reserved powers. They decided on such issues of education or use of taxes, unlike the case with the Articles of Confederation, in which everything had to be a unanimous vote in order for law to be passed.
As the Articles of Confederation states, the said states hereby severally enter into a firm legal friendship with each other for their common defense, the security of their liberties, and their mutual and general welfare, binding them to assist each other. This meant that one government of the U.S. shall be supreme as long as the states unanimously agree. As the state Articles of Confederation, each state retains sovereignty, freedom, and independence in every power, jurisdiction, and right which is not by this Confederation expressly delegated to the U.S. in Congress assembled. As it turned out, the former system of the government gave the federal government too little power, while giving the states too much power. As Alexander Hamilton states, it is neither fit for war nor peace. It was also nearly impossible to pass anything in Congress, due to the rule being there must be a majority of vote between all the states. The downside to this method was the fact that not every single state was going to agree with another state's request for a law, resulting in many proposals not being passed through Congress, as this was the makeup of states so complex and diverse.
The Constitution was created by our framers to serve as a higher law in our national society due to the fear of becoming a monarchy. It helped to reflect upon what is happening in our current society, and yet it also helps to restrain Congress from making continuous laws so that every complaint will not be fulfilled throughout the states. As such, the Constitution will and always will continue to serve as a nation's standard for government.